Today we have the all-new BMW X2. In this video, I'll talk about what the X2 is, how I feel about the interior space, and what it's like to drive it. Now, BMW was one of the first brands to introduce a concept of a coupe-like SUV with the X6 in 2008, and today basically all of their normal SUVs have a coupe counterpart. The first generation X2 debuted in 2017, and last year BMW released a second gen, codenamed U10. I'm not gonna talk about the design since it's subjective and, in the case of the X2, very polarizing, but I would rather focus on technical aspects. Just like the new X1, the X2 is based on the UK L2 front-wheel drive platform and features a single-joint spring strut axle at the front, and in the back you'll find a multilink setup. In North America, we get one engine in the X2, a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder pushing out 241 horsepower in the 28i variant, or 312 horsepower in the M35i that you see here. Both produce 295 pound-feet of torque. Interestingly, the peak torque in the 20A hits at 1500 RPM, whereas in the 35 at 2000, and both come with a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission with mechanical LSD, which transfers the power to all 4 wheels using a front-bias xDrive system. Now the M35i gets adaptive dampers as standard and 4 piston brakes up front with M compound pads. Now, before we talk how it all works together, let's take a look inside and talk about the interior space. The interior design is a typical BMW stuff. The only difference is the X2 no longer feels like a discount BMW, being one of their entry-level models, and we get a good mix of materials, including aluminum, high-quality plastics, and great touch points. I do, however, have one problem with it, and it's usability. And I'm not talking about the storage, which is great for the car from this segment, with good-sized door pockets, rather generous center console, and great cargo space. I'm talking about using the car's functions, to be exact. You see, BMW has been eliminating buttons from their cars from the past couple of years, and surprise surprise, the X2 is no different. The new generation received the iDrive 9 operating system, and for the first time, I'm disappointed with technology in a BMW product. Not only because the software feels like a beta release with stability issues, but mainly due to elimination of most physical controls, including the iDrive controller. And lack of physical controls isn't just annoying, it's more dangerous. The screen position is way too far out, and every single time I wanted to do something stupid, like adjusting a temperature, I had to take my eyes off the road, lean forward, make sure I have to click in the right spot. Completely unnecessary, and some may argue that you can use voice control, but why change something that has been working in cars for decades? Anyways, done with my rant. From the user interface perspective, the iDrive is still the best operating system with logical menu structure and a clean design, and the digital gauge cluster is pretty customizable, allowing you to change the design of your gauges and the information it displays, including the map. The seating position typically for a BMW product is great. You can sit relatively low to the ground, and the M35i gets those cool looking bucket seats that provide great support with adjustable bolsters and a decent comfort for what they are. Now, moving to the back, despite the sloping roofline, the X2 offers decent amount of headroom and even better legroom, considering it's a subcompact SUV. Your passengers get climate vents and 2 USB-C ports to charge their devices, and I don't see a reason why someone would feel like driving in the back is a punishment. So, that was the interior of the new BMW X2. Let's get it on the road now and see how it drives. Now, looking at the X2 from the outside, you see big vents, quad-tip exhaust, red brake calipers, so you might think that car means business. Well, not necessarily. Let's be real, the X2, even in the M35i variant, will spend 99% of the time as a daily, and BMW knows that well. The ride quality, considering what the chassis is capable of, is great. The The suspension filters out road imperfections in a pleasant way, the engine makes ton of torque, especially in that 2000 to 4000 RPM range, which is what you need during everyday driving. The driver assist systems are here to help you and not to piss you off, and the cabin is well isolated from the road and with noise, making it a pretty good all-around vehicle. Now, at the end of the day, the X2 is the ultimate driving machine, wink wink, and I had to take it to my favorite back road. And how did it do? Not bad. The body control is very good. There isn't much understeer, given we are working with a front-wheel drive platform here. The steering feels very neutral and actually provides some feedback, and tossing the X2 into corners is actually fun, with small beamer being stable and predictable. There is some torque here that you have to take under consideration when accelerating flat on, despite having the xDrive on board, but overall, BMW proved that they can also make good front-wheel drive vehicles. Now, one thing BMW knows how to tune right besides chassis are their engines. The B48 2-liter 4-cylinder that powers the M35i variant is a class of its own, and besides the K20C1 found in the Civic Type R, it is the best performance-oriented turbocharged inline 4-cylinder. Just like the Honda's unit, it doesn't sound at all, and we get pumped and fake engine noise through the speakers, but everything else is great. The torque and power delivery are very linear, resulting in smooth engine operation all the way to the red line. Now, the exhaust is very quiet for an M sport car, and all the pops, bangs, and farts are generated through speakers, not the actual exhaust, and that's a disappointment because there are ways to make a Ford popper sound good. The 7-speed dual clutch unit isn't all that great. There is a noticeable torque dip in between the shifts, and the clutch slips when under fast acceleration of the line. It's not something you will necessarily notice during everyday driving, and the good news is using launch control basically solves the lag, but the use of a conventional torque-converted unit would eliminate those issues. I don't understand why BMW replaced the torque-converted 8-speed AC unit from the predecessor, maybe due to the packaging, but the transmission and its behavior is honestly the only downside of the good overall X2. So that was the new BMW X2. With everything we covered, let's jump to the final thoughts. The BMW X2 isn't a coupe-like SUV designed purely for enthusiasts. It's a product for younger demographics wanting to enter the segment of luxury vehicles that are simply flashy, and that's what BMW is trying to accomplish with this car, especially the M35i. It's quick but easy to control, it's on a firmer side but not punishing, and overall the new X2 is better than expected. Besides minor annoyances related to the transmission, I enjoyed driving it this past week. If you have any questions of the new X2, feel free to drop a comment and I'll answer them. Thanks so much for watching, I'll catch you later.